Hey, witches!
Hi.
Hi! Okay, so today we wanted to go a little bit more in depth on tarot. How do you go pick out your first deck? What are some things that you might do whenever you get home with that deck to make sure that it's clear of all energy that's not yours? And then some things to kind of get you started.
Well, there's lots of different ways to clear the deck, obviously.
True.
You have cleansing it with smoke. You have cleansing it with your own energy. You have just washing it.
Let's start with, okay, so you decided, I want to read tarot. And now you're probably wondering, like, ooh, what's the best way to go about this? So,
should I start?
Exactly. One thing that I think is a big old myth is
getting gifted a deck of tarot
is the only way that you should come into having a deck. I think that's a myth. We've been practicing for a while now with decks that we just bought ourselves, and nothing bad has happened.
Well, I've heard stories of people getting gifted tarot decks, and one of the things that they said was that even though they liked the tarot deck that they had gotten gifted, it just didn't vibe with them.
Yeah, I maybe we can do a deep dive video in the future on where did that myth even come from? Because I'm kind of curious. But okay, so let's say you've decided you want to read tarot, and obviously there's a couple different ways you can go about it. You can go online, of course, if there's no metaphysical shops nearby, or it's just really hard for you to get to one.
Or you don't want to walk around with a deck and you feel better having it delivered to you in a brown box.
I mean, yeah, whatever the reason is. I do think my preferred method obviously would always be to go in so that you can kind of get a read of the energy off that deck, but I don't think that's the only way that you can do it. No. So there's a ton of, I mean, I don't need to walk anybody through how to online shop. I think that's a little redundant. I think the best way is to go in person, obviously, if you can manage that. There's a bunch of stores where we live. Thankfully, we're in Vancouver, so there's a lot of options that are really close to us. If you are in Vancouver, my favorite is Banyan Books on West 4th.
For tarot cards, totally.
They have such a huge selection, and they have
samples.
Yeah, the sample decks of everything from what we have seen, except for the mini decks. I don't know, maybe they have some of the mini decks.
Well, I know when I got this little mini deck, they did not have a sample for it.
Right. But we have a couple decks here. We actually did get all of these decks from Banyan. We've been to other stores, but we just have a couple decks here that we're going to share in a little bit. We keep getting sidetracked. Okay, Selma, what is the main thing that you think you should pay attention to when you are going into a store with the thought of getting a deck?
Well, I mean, when you're going in, obviously you're going to be looking at all these boxes. You're going to be reading on the back, looking at the pictures that they show you that exist, right? It's kind of one of those feelings where you're like, okay, I kind of like the vibe of this deck or anything like that. And then if you're lucky enough to be able to look at the samples, you get to look at the samples, you get to touch them, kind of flip through the cards, see if that still matches that energy you want to have in the card.
True.
That you're reading. Because you can look at a deck of cards, think it looks really pretty, and then as you go through the cards that are there, maybe some of the cards, they don't really go with the flow that you like.
Yeah, that's very true. I think it can feel pretty overwhelming. I remember whenever we were just trying to get our first decks, and it was wow, how do you even make
Decide.
a decision? Yeah, there's so many things. I think the more aware, the wider your awareness is, the more you'll notice different energy pulling at you.
Yes.
So that can kind of work against you, or it can work for you, because if you're more aware but you don't really know how to interpret that at that moment, it can just feel
overwhelming.
Yeah, overwhelming and draining, and just kind of okay, I don't know, forget this. I'm just gonna go.
I've actually had that happen where I just couldn't find that point for myself to balance myself back out, to ground myself.
Yeah.
And it just gets really overwhelming when you feel like you're being pulled in a direction and you just can't figure out what's pulling you.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe we can even talk on that a little bit on how you can course correct in that moment. So, like when you walk into the store, if you are feeling pulled in like a million different directions, how do you like to ground yourself in the moment?
I think it's kind of like going into a different section of the store and just kind of like taking a few breaths and just kind of recentering yourself. Yourself?
That's true. I feel like for me, that's a good question because I've definitely had moments where I did not know how to center myself either. So I was like, I'm just not going to get anything. As I've learned a little bit, I feel like kind of breathing into your body and really just kind of coming back to center almost and just being like, okay, like clear all the noise away. Maybe going into a different section if,
or even outside the store and going back in.
Right, stepping outside for some fresh air. How do I ground myself whenever I'm in the store and I'm feeling like there's way too many energies pulling me, like in many different directions? I think just taking a beat. I don't find I have to go into a different section. I don't think that's mandatory. You can kind of just like take a pause, breathe into your body, and kind of come back to center and then reevaluate.
The other thing that's kind of important to remember is when you're going to go look for a tarot deck, don't try to rush it.
Yes, actually, that reminds me too to not really have any expectations.
No.
Like, just let whatever's going to come to you come to you. Unless, I mean, maybe you do have like something super specific. Like, there's a lot of decks, like, there's one there that's like a Pulp Riot deck. Okay, if you're like really into, no, not Pulp Riot.
Pulp Fiction?
There's a deck there that is a Pulp Fiction deck, which is kind of like funny and cool. So maybe if that's something, or like there's a movie or characters or something that you're super into.
Video game.
Yeah. And then you see that deck, like, I mean, by all means, start with that one. It's your journey. I mean, I guess in short, I think the first thing to notice is your energy. And if there is anything that just kind of seems to be jumping out at you, that's a great place to start.
Okay, so you've done all the legwork now. You went into the store. You went through the samples if they had it. Hopefully they do.
Mm-hmm.
You've brought the deck home. Now what should you do?
Well, there's a ton of different ways to cleanse your deck. So you can do a deck cleansing, and then typically you want to do a deck interview because every deck is going to have its own personality, if you will. So we'll go through like some of the basics in this portion because if we go into the details of all of these steps, this video is just going to be like way too long. So if you do want to know more about each of these steps, just let us know in the comments and we'll make a video on that. Maybe we'll make it anyway. I don't know. But a couple quick little ways. Smoke cleansing, obviously, if you're in a place where you can
light incense.
Yeah, like light incense or
sound cleansing.
Sound cleansing, that you can do pretty much anywhere. Cleansing with your own energy, knocking on the deck, doing a good wash. So that's literally like where you just dump your cards out and wash them on the surface. What else? Am I missing anything? I'm sure I am. Maybe there's even ways that we don't know about.
Currently. Oh, I'm sure there is. If you guys have any ways that we didn't mention, please leave them in the comments.
True. But I think that pretty much covers any methods that we've done in the past. Yeah. And then the next step would be to move on to interviewing your new deck. Your deck is kind of like a friend. So you kind of want to get to know each other a little bit.
See how you guys are going to work together.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's not a requirement in every deck that you do, but if it's going to be a main deck that you're using, it's actually kind of good to do that.
Yeah, I think it's like a good idea. Obviously, none of this, like you'll probably hear us mention a lot just on this channel, is do what feels best for you. So like all of these things are, I feel like, suggestions. If you're just not into it or you don't feel like called to doing that and you're like, whatever. I mean, curiosity's sake, you could always try the things even that you're not called to just to see what happens. But none of it's mandatory. But I think doing a deck interview does just give you a little snapshot into the essence of that deck.
Right. Like, I mean, my mini deck, as an example, I didn't do a deck interview for that because that one is only I'm using it for like when I needed just a little bit of a motivative push throughout the day.
Right. You can kind of like have it on the go. Quick.
Yeah.
When you need a little pick me up.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. I would love to get a mini deck. I just haven't found one that I actually connect with yet. So,
I mean, and that's like even another set that we have, which is this one over here, if you want to put it into frame. We didn't do a deck interview on this one because this is actually like a kind of a combo deck that we use individually or together.
Oh, yeah, that's actually a great point to talk about too. So, if you are in a household where there's multiple witches, or maybe you don't consider yourself a witch, but just somebody who reads tarot, I mean, I feel like I don't want anyone else reading with my cards. Maybe it's like a territorial thing, but the ones that like are my deck that I connect with, I feel like it's kind of like that's something between me and that deck. So I don't really want somebody else like reading
Messing
with
with
them.
it.
Yeah, like I mean, I'm interested to hear everybody else's perspective on that because I know that's just how we kind of do things in our household. But I don't know if in different households, if it's kind of like a community thing where it's like go pick your deck, whatever one that you want to use that day. I don't know, but that's not how we roll in this house.
I mean, would you have to do a deck interview every single time that you were going to roll with that card, or would you just have to put your energy into that deck that day?
I guess maybe it would just be a matter of connecting with that deck that day.
Yeah.
Maybe we've been doing it wrong this whole time. I don't know. That's just kind of what we started off with, and that's what we've continued with.
I think it's just whatever works right for you is what you do. But
True.
I mean, yeah, I'm actually kind of curious about that.
Yeah.
It brings up an interesting topic. I would love to know about that.
Yeah.
Please, if you do that, let us know.
So I think that pretty much wraps up getting the deck, getting it home, and then some ways that you can get into it and like practice are obviously doing tarot on yourself. Selma, you've been doing tarot on yourself for a while. Has anything horrible happened to you?
Not that I've noticed in anything. I think that's actually brought more insight to myself. I know that it's been one of those things where they've been like, don't do tarot on your side. This could be like an early 2000s and 90s thing, or even earlier than that. Like, don't do tarot on yourself because if you do tarot on yourself, bad things are going to happen. I mean, I guess it's one of those myths, like, you have to be gifted a deck.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, now I think we really should do a deep dive on, like, where did the myths of tarot come from on those, like, cautionary tales?
And how many other myths don't we know about?
Yeah, actually. That would be a really fun video. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that doing tarot on yourself is bad. I think that it can actually open you up to a lot of self-discovery and a lot of great things.
Different insights.
Yeah, totally. So then we also, just to kind of like wrap up, wanted to share some of our decks. I could have so many decks. Like I could have so many and probably still want to get more.
Like a whole bookcase.
Yeah.
Actually, I wanted to actually touch in on the guidebooks.
Oh, okay.
Because, like, obviously, like, with this little deck, it didn't come with a guidebook.
You're on your own.
Yeah, you're on your own. I mean, there is an app that goes with it if you really want to have a guidebook. But, like, if you look at your Rider-Waite-Smith deck, like, that one is, like, very simplistic in its guidebook version. Like, it's just kind of more of, like, keywords. Like, does it even give reversals?
No, actually. Oh, my gosh. That's something that we'll have to go into in a different video.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great thing to talk about, actually, because so we got everything from no guidebook, and then we have your book. I feel like is a good, like, medium.
Yeah, it's a medium one. You got, like, the picture, and then you got, like, a nice little paragraphs where you just kind of have to figure out where it takes into what you're talking about, or even, like, the reversals.
And then we got this bad boy, where it's, like, a whole, like, it's a whole story on each card, which, I mean, it depends on what you're reading for, I think.
And even on your every little thing you do is magic thing, I mean, that one even gives you correspondences.
Actually, yeah, that's true. So, like, for example...
And we have a beaker in frame.
We have a visitor.
Okay, now we're going away. Thank you for your
So,
visit.
So another deck that we have, this is the deck that I use. Well, that only
mostly.
I use. It's Every Little Thing You Do Is Magic. And it actually has like a whole little breakdown on each card as to like a crystal that goes with it, scent, music, and the vibe, which is like so great. It has like little keywords.
And it's got the numerology too.
And numerology. So it kind of depends on like what you're looking to get out of the reading, the energy that you want to bring into the reading. Like, is this like a very like seriously like cut and dry scenario, or is it a little bit more about like self-discovery? Anything like that. It really depends on what you're looking to get out of that experience of reading.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's like the Rider-Waite Smith, deck. I mean, that one's giving you more like keywords, so you can have a little bit more interpretation. Maybe you want to look more at the symbolism of the cards.
Right. Like, because I think with some guidebooks being more detailed, it can actually work against you because then you're not left to just come to your own conclusion. Like, if you're going with a deck that just has keywords, then it's only giving you a little bit, and then you kind of have to interpret the rest. Both definitely have a place. Like, I would say my favorite deck currently it gives you a little bit more of a story. Whereas my original deck that I started learning with was only keywords. And eventually I started to feel like, oh, this is like so serious and kind of boring. So it kind of just depends on what era you're in, I feel like.
Yeah. And I mean, I like the Witch Sisters because it gives you like, instead of using the basic cups, pentacles, swords, and wands, you're going into the elements. So I think it just gives you another aspect to look into.
True.
So it's all about what really calls to you and what you feel like works with you. And if you have any questions or want us to dive into anything else, please make sure you let us know in the comments below.
100%. And as always, if you have any little tidbits to share with us, we would love to hear those as well. So I think that pretty much wraps up everything for this video. It was a pleasure as always, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Thank you.